Hello and good morning. State of human rights of any country reflect the state of rule of law of that particular country. Right now, I'm joined by Mr. Khalique, who is the Secretary General of Human Rights Commission of Pakistan. They have launched annual report of state of human rights with regard to the year 2018. Let us talk to him. Thank you, Harisab, that you've joined me. How you see the state of rule of law in Pakistan in year 2018?
Thank you very much, Azaz. I think what we have tried to do in the report is to be even-handed. We have observed and recorded some positive changes that have taken place during the year. But overall, I must say that it was, it was not a good year for human rights in Pakistan. Some positive changes that I mention are, for instance, the Transgender Protection Act that was passed. But when it comes to civil and political rights, when it comes to economic rights, when it comes to social rights, I think that was not a priority. It is, seldom that it becomes a priority of state and different governments. But during 2018, the media, the judiciary, the civil society, they were all more interested in the intensive politicking that was happening in the run-up to the elections. It was the election year, and human rights was not a priority for any segment of society.
So did you observe that there were some problems in the elections, pre-poll rigging, manipulation and things like that? And who did that?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is not, something that can actually be shoved under the carpet anymore. And I think, we have seen the role of security agencies. We have seen the role of media being totally partisan. We have seen the role of the civil society not rising to the occasion and actually asking the previous government or the interim government to empower the election commission. The whole voting system on the voting day collapsed. The new the report transmission system.
Did you receive any reports in which it has come to you that some politicians are pressurized to change their loyalties from one party to another?
Well, that is more of a news in the press. I mean, that is not necessarily, nobody has made a complaint to Human Rights Commission, because that is not perhaps in the purview of the Human Rights Commission. But there are reports, of course, through media. We know that, and through our fact-finding missions. If you look at the whole electoral process, the manipulation, the changing of political parties that you find is a genuine cause for concern.
So, what was the state of media? Right now, we are going through a censorship era, and we are going through this. But how did you find who was behind this, and what you observed, particularly with regard to the elections?
Well, I think there are two sides to the issue. One is that media persons were in private settings. They have been saying that such and such person from such and such intelligence agency or such and such government department has called me, but they do not come out in the open and make it clear as much as they should. And I think that is more of a cause for concern, that there is no joint statement from from media, the media associations or journalist bodies, and there's no sort of negotiation that is happening between different journalist associations or bodies, representative journalist bodies, and the institutions, the agencies that they blame for pressurizing them. And the other side is that the media houses are in fact commercial business enterprises, unfortunately. I mean, most of them, if not all. And so they take far more pressure than ever before, because commercial interests are higher. And people who have not been running newspapers have entered and were doing, somebody was a goldsmith or somebody was a tobacconist, and they have started media channels. So they get influenced and pressured by different lobbies, including the extremist lobbies, which are not necessarily state, agencies. They are non-state.
So one last question. You've been doing this thing for years, and you've been engaged in many reports like this. How you compare the situation? Whether it's getting better or it's getting worse?
You see, it's a stalemate, to be honest. I mean, I can't say, I mean, I don't want to sensationalize, but it is a stalemate. I mean, things haven't improved since last 18 months. I mean, this has been, but things haven't worsened either. I mean, there are ways, because people have started using social media to the utmost. So people have found ways to voice their concerns. So voices are muffled on certain mainstream media, but voices cannot be muffled on alternative media. And that has created a space for dialogue, and that has created a space for dissent.
But if you compare these 18 months with the previous 18 months, it's getting better or worse?
No, the last 18 months have been worse than the previous, the 18 months before that. But during the last 18 months, we were thinking that it will improve. The situation will improve after the elections, because we have got an elected government, whatever our concerns on the electoral process, but we have got an elected political government in power, but things have stayed the same. So when I say that there is a stalemate, it is a cause for concern. It is not giving a compliment to the incumbent government. They should have improved the situation of freedom of expression and freedom of association when they are in power, because as citizens, the political government is responsible to us. It is not the other institutions of the state that constitutionally fall under their supervision.
Thank you. This was Mr. Haris Khalique telling us the state of human rights in Pakistan in year 2018.